In today's economic climate, becoming debt-free has never been more crucial or more challenging, and I know that for sure. By having a plan in place, though, for dealing with debt, it is possible to wipe out your credit card debt for good. And the Focus Foundation's Emily New is back with some simple strategies to eliminate that debt. Hi, Emily.
Hi, Nikki. How are you? You sound so horrible.
I know, I'm sorry.
No,
but thank you for being here. I'll let you do most of the talking.
That's fine.
Let's talk first about what's the first sign that credit card debt is becoming unmanageable.
The first sign is you're feeling helpless, you're feeling overwhelmed, you're stressed out anytime you go to the mailbox or open your email box. You're afraid that all of these bills are coming and you just don't want to deal with it. So the first step is kind of being in denial and being stressed out and just feeling totally overwhelmed.
Right. I know that feeling, unfortunately.
It's not good.
But you know, when we talk about problems, we always like to find solutions, and you actually say that there are 6 steps that you can offer that will help wipe out that credit card debt. So please help us.
That's right.
Let's start with step 1.
Step 1, the very first thing, you have to face reality. That's the very first thing.
Okay.
That's what we're listing here, right here on this slide, so you guys can see it. Face reality. Make a list of what exactly is it that you have to spend money on. The essentials. So that is your rent, your mortgage, all of the things that are the car. That's right. You have to pay your heating, your gas, your utilities. Maybe your cell phone is going to be a huge essential for you. So make a list of those essential items that have to be paid first. Okay. And you're going to compare that list with how much you're making. So look at your paycheck stubs, any extra earned income that you're making. You're going to compare those 2 numbers, and that's going to show you the reality of your situation.
Okay. So you really have to just face reality.
You have to face
number
it.
1.
That's right.
Okay, so then where do we go from there?
Okay.
Once we've done that.
The next thing is to minimize the luxuries that we spend our money on. Now, we all love to pamper ourselves, and there's things that we can do, getting our hair done, a manicure, a pedicure, all of those things that we love to spend money on, but the reality is that they're really not all that important. So you have to minimize how much money you're spending on those items and realize that it's not forever that you're not going to be able to afford those luxuries, but for the time being, you have to kind of put that stuff aside and focus on the important essentials.
Well, I guess you just have to find alternatives, because we all want to stay, we want to maintain our, appearance, and we want to stay on top of our hygiene and all of these other things. I mean, I find I spend the most money at the drugstore just on maintenance things, razors and toothpaste and the things you can't live without.
Exactly.
But they seem like luxuries when you're shopping through the drugstore aisle. So, okay, so now
but the alternative to some of those things would be like doing it at home. Maybe paint your toenails yourself instead of going to the salon.
Exactly, exactly. So, okay, so now we find the reality. We get to that point where we're like, okay, let's prioritize. Now what happens? What's next step?
So the next step after that would be to contact your credit card companies. If you're really struggling to make those minimum payments seem really difficult to reach, and typically, you remember, those minimum payments are going to be a lot less than your balance. So the credit card companies are trying to get you the smallest piece that you have to pay out of the big chunk. But you need to contact them and tell them what your situation is. Now, you don't have to tell them everything. Don't tell them your whole life story. Okay,
they don't care.
They don't need to know. They don't really care. But be calm and rational about it. Tell them, I am experiencing some financial hardship at the moment. You guys are important to me as a creditor. I do want to pay you. Is there something that we can do? Maybe moving your payment date back a little bit to when you get paid at the latter part of the month is one thing that you can do. Ask them if you can keep that minimum payment, and maybe they can work with you on your interest rate. That's the biggest one. Because if you have a credit card company that's wanting to charge you, 29%, ask them, I really do want to pay you guys. Is there any way you could work with me for a little while? Go down to 25%, 28, just lower it a little bit and ask for their help. And if they tell you that they can't help you, if you're talking to somebody who says, I really can't lower that interest rate for you, ask to speak to a manager. But again, remain calm. Don't be afraid to talk to them.
Face it, don't defend it.
Exactly. Don't be afraid. They're a person just like you, and they do want to keep those payments coming. So contact them first.
Okay, and what's our next step?
Okay, the next step after that would be to check out some of these balance transfers on certain credit cards. A lot of us get those options in the mail or even to your email box. You can transfer your balance. Now, there's a big deal here that a lot of people don't realize. Typically, you're going to have to pay a fee for transferring a balance.
Oh, you are?
There is a fee associated.
But you still recommend it?
I still recommend it because it might help you. If you can transfer to a credit card that has 0% for 6 months to a year,
that'd be great.
It'll make sense to avoid that 29% that you're already paying.
Interest fee.
Exactly.
And then what would be the next step from there?
Okay, the next step after that is to prioritize your credit card debt. Okay, if you have this credit card that has 29%, there's another credit card that only has 5% interest, okay?
Right.
Prioritize who you're paying first. Pay off the highest first.
Good
because
point.
you're going to be spending more and more on interest.
It's such a waste. It's so much wasted money.
So much money that you're not getting anything for.
No, and many Americans are just struggling to pay their everyday bills and their everyday needs. And, you know, so give us that final step.
The final step, we're going to say don't swim with the sharks. And what that means is you hear all of these ads constantly on the TV and the radio that we can make your credit card debt go away. There's no such thing. Typically, those are cons, okay?
We can fix
It's not
your
going to
debt.
go away. It's not going to go away. What they're going to try to do for you is stuff that you could do yourself, contacting the credit card companies. If you have to consolidate your debt, look at a reputable credit consolidation company.
Well, you know, I think we count on our credit cards, some of us, just to make ends meet. I know, you know, when times get tough, just to get gasoline in your car, you're using your credit card.
Right.
So what would be your advice to people in that position?
Don't use your credit card for those everyday things.
Really?
The gas,
Okay.
the going out to eat, the groceries. Use your credit cards for things that you know you can pay off so that you avoid getting into the cycle in the beginning.
Like a plane ticket or things like that.
Exactly. The things that you have to reserve it for, that credit cards are convenient to have.
Yeah, well, we definitely want to begin rebuilding our credit if we don't have good credit and we want to get back on track. So what's the best way to do that?
The best way to do that is to pay your bills on time. Paying your bills on time every single month is the best way. That's what uses your credit card score the most, is paying those bills on time.
Great advice. You're so fantastic. Thank you, Emily.
Thank you.
And we want to remind everybody, if they need to go to Focus Foundation.
You can visit us at focusonthefuture.tv or focusonthefuture.tv for our web show and see individual episodes on each topic of personal finance.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Thanks.